Well, well, well. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out my little input thing here. Let's see if I can maybe get this on here. There we go. And we're gonna turn around and whoa, we're too close, too close. What's going on, guys, girls, gals, ladies, men, gentlemen, dudes? Let's include some other entities today. Let's do some fish, some turtles, some alligators, herons, egrets. Let's involve all the people, the plants, the swamp willows, the swamp maples, not the swamp willows, the swamp maples, the cypress trees, all the fallen trees. Let's give it up for them. I'd pour a little bit out if I had a little bit, but I don't. What's happening out there? Haven't done a show, and it seems like forever. I mean, it's definitely been 2 months. Maybe it's been 3. I'm not sure. I'm looking all fat today in this shirt. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I guess I'm fat. That's what's going on. That's what it is. I'm trying to shed a few pounds, but I haven't done a show, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go out on the river today, and I'm going to do a show on the river, which we haven't done in a while. I don't know. I tried to set it up. I'm not sure. Ah, shit. I knew we were going to have some issues. I'm going to spin the camera around. That's the only thing I'm not sure of is I can't determine if I'm going through my AirPods or if I'm going through the mic. If I'm going through the mic on the phone, whenever I switch camera views from selfie to, looking forward like I am right now, sometimes I get some different audio going on. To sound good one direction and sound a little far away the other direction. We're going to see. We've got, if you can see right here, I've got a pretty big felled tree across the pond right here, the river. We're on the Ashley River, by the way. And if you look right here, if you look right there in front, that little log right there, that looks like a chainsaw. So it looks like somebody has come through here and hopefully sawed off a couple of these limbs so we can squeeze through here, because I believe if they hadn't, we would be portaging, however you want to say it. We're making it through. Oop, maybe we're scraping some of these logs. Yeah, so I think somebody came through with a chainsaw and took care of that for us. So that's a glorious thing. You gotta love the friends of the river, they come out with a little flat bottom John boat or something like that. And they just come out and take care of shit. They're out here too, trying to have a good time, and they can't have a good time if they're out here on Impasse River. Is that how you say that? Impasse, unpassable. Yeah. So people come out. Look at this. We got our own little reflecting pool out here, and there's probably less algae on this river than there is in the reflecting pool up in DC. But we got our own reflection going on, And this is nature's monument that we're seeing. So let's see if I can flip back around again. If the audio flips with me and is a little sketchy one way or the other, I'm sorry. If it is, this is going to be the better way. You're going to hear me better in this position when I'm doing the selfie. And what's been going on, guys? How y'all been doing? Happy late Mother's Day. I guess I missed Mother's Day. I missed Father's Day this past Sunday. A lot of times I'll do a show on at least one of those days, the Mother's Day. If you guys have seen it, go back. If you haven't, go back and take a look on the channel, on the YouTubes, and you'll see the Mother's Day episode. Quite a few episodes back. But I didn't wear a bra today. Probably should have. I need a little support. But if you haven't gone out and you haven't listened to that, that's a fantastic episode. Very sobering. And I did that many, many years ago for my ex-wife, I guess. For me, just to get some shit off my chest and out of my head. But I did it just to kind of clear the air and get it out there. It was basically I had done a story in my book. It's All Fun and Games Until. that you can also find on the interwebs, on the inner tubes. Go out there and search it, Brian Dale Sr. It's all fun and games, and you'll find a PDF version of it out there, an ebook version or whatever. You don't need to get the hard copy unless you just want it to put it on your nightstand somewhere, on your coffee table, as a coffee table book. But companion piece to that book, I did that episode, the Mother's Day episode. Go check it out. Woo, buddy. That looked exactly like an alligator eye looking at me, but it was a log. Man, beautiful day. I came out here. It's about an hour before high tide, so it's about 6 p.m. High tide is supposed to be at 7:02 here at the Bacon's Bridge Landing at the Ashley River Park, which is where I put in. They got a nice little landing there. You can just, little 10% grade of a slope where you can drop your kayak in and get out here on the water. And when I get out here during the high tide, let's switch back around so you can see what I'm seeing. Maybe we'll go to a 0.5. When you come out here during the high tide, you want to go north on the river. I'm not sure if this actually due north. Let's see, we can check it out. If I pull up my, I'm actually going west right now, but you go kind of north, you go kind of west. I think it's mainly west. When I go out during high tide, this is pretty much the slack tide right now, so it's the tide in between the high and the low, which is what they call a slack tide. Oh, I just saw a blue heron up there. And, I'll go up the river, basically, that's what I'm trying to say, and I'll go with the tide. So right now we're in the slack tide. It was coming into a high tide. So at 7, it's going to reach the high, which it pretty much has right now. I mean, the slack is pretty much the high. That's where it's peaked out. So it's going to continue to peak and just kind of settle and meander here for the next hour. And then it's going to start pulling back out to the ocean and going back to a low tide. So if I come out here during a low tide, I'll come out about an hour before the low tide, maybe a couple hours sometimes. That way you can ride the tide a little bit instead of it being slack. But you ride the tide out, hang out for the slack, and then you turn around and you ride the tide back in. So you go down river on the low tide, up river on the high tide, and that's just me. I mean, if you don't want to do a whole lot of work, if you got a little small recreational boat like I took out today versus this is a 10-footer, just a wreck boat. Doesn't go very fast. It's pretty slow. It's pretty agile. You can get around some stuff like we did back through that. The felled tree back there. You can maneuver a lot better. It's got a wider base to it. It's a little more stable, so it's a good wreck boat for beginners and stuff. But this is kind of a boat I've had forever, so I just like to take it out. Now, if you want to get out and you want to, ride against the tides, then maybe get out here with a 12 or a 13 or maybe even a 15-foot yak, and you've got a little more contour. You're skinnier body, and you cut through the water a lot easier, and you're gonna have a lot more fun going against the tide in one of those boats. Not real fun in this boat. I mean, if you stop paddling for literally 2 seconds, you're going backwards in this boat if you're going against the tide. So you don't want that. You want a nice, sleek, slender cutting boat with some length on it, to where I paddle 4 or 5 times, and I can still ride that paddle up into the current and not immediately be turned backwards. So that's the boring stuff that you wanted to hear, I'm sure. I don't know. I'll just keep turning you around and going, back and forth. Let you see some of the river. Let you see some of me. I guess you can see some of the river behind me, but so yeah, just haven't been doing haven't been doing any shows really. I just haven't really had the motivation to do them. I mean, I've definitely on a every other day basis, a weekly basis at the very least. Is it the very least or the very most? I'm out here saying, man, I need to get out in the trailer and do a show, or I need to go maybe to my parents' house and go in their formal living room and maybe do a show there. Kind of looks a little more formal, give you a different look. Sometimes I think about going out to the park, or to the Ashley River Park where I just put in, or maybe go out to the Azalea Park, or go to Hutchinson Square, or go somewhere in an outdoor setting, maybe do something. But But then I say, you know what, Brian? I don't feel fucking like it. I've been doing show after show after show for forever, and sometimes I just feel like taking a break, you know, and regrouping. Man, it's beautiful in this little piece right here. Look at that reflection. It's glass out here right now. Temperature, I want to say, I don't even have to say I want to say. Let's take a look. Let's see what the actual temperature is. It is 91 degrees right now. 51% humidity. What are the stats we got here? That's all I got for you right now. Temperature's going down. I think it peaked out at 93 degrees today, so we're on the downswing. But yeah, I just said, you know what? It's been a while. I'm out on the river. It's going to be peaceful. I'm going to have the camera with me anyway. I got no distractions. I got nothing else that's going to take up my time and say, oh, I'd rather do this instead. I can hit record. We're cutting through some another felled tree right here. Ooh, almost hit that trunk right there on that one. So a couple felled trees out here. You know, we've had some pretty big thunderstorms over the past few weeks that kind of ebb and flow, and some of them have been pretty heavy. You know, power's gone out and trees down. Hell, I was at Charleston Sports Pub last Thursday, this past Thursday that just passed us. And I was sitting inside with a couple friends of mine. We were sitting at the corner of the bar, and they got a couple garage doors that open to the outside patio. 3, maybe 4 umbrellas out there in the outside patio, you know, stuck down in some of these, you know, light plastic tables and chairs out there. And we knew the rain was coming. I was on my e-bike, and a buddy of mine was on his motorcycle, his Indian. And we both knew the rain was coming, so we said, we're just going to sit here and wait the rain out. We knew when it was coming. We knew when it was supposed to leave. We knew we'd probably be there a good 45 minutes to an hour. You know, I ordered some food and said, we'll just pass time here, watch some of the soccer and baseball, things of that sort. All of a sudden, we looked out the back window, and we just saw the clouds rolling. I mean, these black clouds just, bam, they're ominous, just boom, 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 boom. They're slowly moving in on us. Saw the wind start picking up. All of a sudden, we look over on the outside patio, and next thing you know, one umbrella, 2 umbrellas, 3 umbrellas, 4. All these umbrellas just lifted and blew, and they went across the back patio. They took out all the hanging lights, the suspended outdoor patio lights. They took them all out, and luckily there was nobody outside hanging on the back porch patio, and nobody got injured with those flags, not the flags, the umbrellas. And you know, some of the patrons and stuff went out to pick up the mess. You know, overturned the tables as they came out of the holes, the post holes in the tables. They would come up, and the wind would catch them right before they released from the table and pulled the whole tables over and the chairs, and it was a big mess. I was over there a couple days ago, and they had everything straightened out. Actually, none of the umbrellas were back up, so I think they decided, you know what? If there's nobody sitting outside and they don't ask for an umbrella, maybe we just don't put the umbrellas out. You know, maybe it's a on request type thing. So that's what they did. Got another felled tree here that you know, somebody's already come through. You can see it there. Somebody's already come through and cut the end of it off over here. You'll see it as we go by. Right there, somebody already come through with a chainsaw. I remember when Mr. Gordon Peters, the elusive Gordon Peters, and I went up way high on the south fork of the Edisto River one time. I can't remember exactly where we put in, but we actually had his daughter drop us off. We dropped one car at the put out that we knew we were going to put out at. It was like a 20-mile paddle we did that day, I think, if I recall. And we went way up, and we had his daughter drop us off. And we got dropped off. She took off. We said, all right, we'll see you later. And we got not even a half a mile into the paddle and decided, holy shit, we might have bit off more than we could chew. And we had taken a hatchet with us. I had taken a handsaw. And, you know, we had everything we needed. We all the emergency equipment, the lights. We actually took our firearms with us. We had saws. We had hatchets. We had, you know, all the flotation devices and all the stuff that you need. And luckily we did, because we had to, I mean, like I said, not even a half mile in, we were already portaging over some massive trees that had fallen down across the river, like we have coming up right ahead. And if we hadn't had the equipment that we had, we wouldn't have made it through there. But it was only bad for about that first couple of miles, and all of a sudden it kind of cleared out, and we had a pretty decent time. We still had to kind of go around some stuff and cut our way through some things, but overall, it wasn't as bad as the paddles we thought. And if I remember correctly, that was actually the one that we kind of misjudged. We didn't misjudge, but we kind of lollygagged a little bit too much, and ended up having to ride the last few miles out in the dark, like complete darkness. You know, we didn't bring any lanterns or anything. I think we had a headlamp and we had our phone lights. But so if you can see up here, but yeah, we did that. It was 20 miles, I think. We did it in like 4.5 or 5 hours. It was one of the most epic kayak trips we've done so far together, collectively. Mr. Gordon Peters and I need to hook up with him and see what he's doing. We're going to see if we can cut left over here around the ends of the tops of this tree, and see if we can come out the other side. If not, we might have to limbo over that right side over there, but got a good feeling we're going to get around this edge, and we're going to survive to tell the story, you know? Oh, yeah. I've got a longer paddle. This is the paddle that I used on the lower third of the Mississippi River trip. If you don't recall, if you didn't watch the video, if you haven't heard the stories, in the past, the initial paddle that they gave us, 3 out of the 4 of us broke those paddles eventually during the trip. I think Big Willie was the first to break his paddle, and then Eric, I think, was the next to break his, and then I ended up breaking mine. Willie got resupplied on the river. We had a River Angel acquire a new paddle for him, and got him all squared away. Eric had a company from where he lives up near the Outer Banks, had somebody resupply him with a paddle, sent it ahead as a mail delivery, and he picked it up at, I can't remember, someplace. Actually prior to that, we ended up getting a resupply of 3 different paddles, some Cargyle paddles, and they were super heavy. I don't know why the paddles were a lot sturdier, a lot better quality paddle, but they were a good bit heavier than the cheap paddles that they had supplied us with initially. So they were wearing our ass out, man, with these heavy ass paddles. So Eric ended up getting him a nice performance paddle sent down river after that. And then I eventually broke my paddle. You know, pretty much the blades were breaking off the paddles. I ended up buying this one off Amazon. I had it sent down river and delivered to the VFW, and they supplied it to me. I actually got an offset handle, curved handle, and this guy weighs, I mean, it's literally like the weight of a flip-flop or some shit like that. I can't remember what the actual weight of it is, but fantastic paddle, carbon fiber, pretty much unbreakable. I mean, don't say that, it's definitely breakable. But so what was I saying? Oh, so this is a longer paddle that I use when I'm in my canoe, because the canoe, I have a higher side going on. It's kind of a canoe kayak hybrid that you can actually use a kayak paddle with instead of having to use a canoe paddle, you know, a single paddle on each side. You can use a kayak paddle, but you have to have a little bit longer than what you would normally use to make sure you get in the water and get you a good pull on the stroke. You know, like a good stroke. Makes a big difference when you get a good stroke. We're going to flip you back around here. So what was I saying? What I was saying was, if I would have known there was so much down stuff and I was going to have to kind of squeeze through some tight spaces, I would have brought my other paddle, the Carlisle that they resupplied us with on the river, and it's a good foot, probably shorter than this paddle that I'm currently using. So going through that tight space like I just did with that tree back there would have been a little easier to get through without kind of getting tied up on the paddle, on the branches. So what else is going on? Not a whole lot. Been just hanging out here in town. Probably another show I'll go into why I'm kind of hanging out in South Carolina right now. and why I will probably be here for the majority of the summer. I'm going to pick up and do some small trips here in a plane. Maybe do a small couple of day, few day trips in the trailer, just kind of local, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina type deal. Excuse me, maybe go up to Tennessee, see my buddy Slayton. But yeah, I'll fill you guys in on that at another time, at a later date. So, what was I going to with that? I don't know where I was going with that statement, but I mentioned Tennessee. Slayton, Wahoo's Adventures, my buddy's rafting company up there in Irwin, Tennessee. They just opened up their company and did their first rafting commercially. You know, they've been on the river privately, but commercially they did the first trip in 2 years since Hurricane Helene kind of shut down the river, and a couple bridges fell into the river, and just all kind of stuff from the train tracks and sewage lines. I mean, just all kind of stuff happened. Trees, of course, timbers, you know, railroad timbers, whatever you could think of, whatever you can imagine could get into a river, had gotten into to the Nolichucky River, and had fucked it up for travel. I mean, it was unsafe to go down. You didn't know what was in the bottom. You didn't know what was happening. If you dump somebody out in the river, you don't want them going down and getting sliced up on some bullshit that's down there. You want to make sure that you know that it's pretty much nothing but rocks, you know, natural river rock that you have to contend with, which is, you know, that comes with the territory. But you don't want some unknown shit going on underneath there that you're going to, you know, impale somebody through the head with some kind of railroad spike or metal, you know, all that kind of bullshit that's going on. What we got going on up here? We got another felled tree. This one looks a little more ominous. There might be an egret sitting up there on top of it. If we can maybe sneak up and... Actually, I think there's 2 egrets up there. So if we can maybe sneak up on it, I'll try and be a little quiet. At least you'll probably be able to see them fly off when they fly. But until I get around this bend to the right here, this dogleg right, I'm not really sure if I can pass this particular tree. And I'm not getting out in Portaging today, I don't think. So it might be a short trip. We might be turning around. But I do believe, now that I look at it, I don't think that's any birds up there. I think that's 2 different limbs that broke off. And yeah, I'm not thinking I'm getting through this right now today. So we'll get up here, we'll take a look. I mean, there's a possibility I could squeeze underneath over there, right in the middle. You know, right up straight ahead here in the middle. I could probably squeeze through underneath there, but I don't know if I really feel like it today. I could definitely go over the top of the branch and you know, slide the canoe underneath, but I don't think I feel like doing any of that today. So I think this is where we're going to call it. Get up here a little closer and just kind of take a little bit of a look. Yeah, and a bunch of the flow of the river has put a bunch of this bullshit right here. You can see in front of me. Has put a bunch of bullshit right through here. Like, you know, almost like a beaver dam type situation. But I could definitely slide in, you know, under this log right here and around that side. But it's just a pain in the ass, and I really don't feel like it today. I've got my my Croc river shoes on that I used all the way down the Mississippi River, so I could definitely do some shit in them. So I could climb over that log and pull the kayak underneath, but I'm not going to do it. Not today, Satan, as they say. Not doing it. Trying to flex my thing over here. I had this fly just biting my foot. So let's see, where are we at? Heart rate's about 90. We've been on the river 29 minutes and 15 seconds so far. I don't have a distance on this particular map that I use, or this app. It'll show me a distance once I shut the app down, but it doesn't show me. I don't have it set up right now to show me active distance on the watch itself, so I'm not sure. 29 minutes, 30 minutes around-ish if we're doing 2 miles an hour, which we're probably doing 2 miles an hour, so we've probably gone a mile. Is what I would ascertain at the moment. So I think we're probably going to do about a 2-mile trip here. What else? So yeah, probably take a little small trip up to Irwin and do some whitewater rafting with Mr. Slayton and Miss Lily up there. Mrs. See their baby girl I haven't met yet. Georgia Faye, I believe is what it was. Stripper name. And what else is going on? My uncle, I've got an appointment that I have to be at every Wednesday afternoon right now. So my weeks are kind of, confined to 6-day trips, I guess, at the moment. So my uncle, he had sent me some emails about this boat. He said, "Hey, look at this boat, And he kept sending me these YouTube videos of this boat. And then finally, one of the emails with another video, he said, "I'm 99% sure I want to get this boat. It's up in Maryland, and I don't have a way to get he wants to do the Great Loop, the American Great Loop. If you've never heard about it, it kind of goes up the East Coast through the intercoastal waterways, goes across the Great Lakes, goes up the coast almost into Canada. I think you can actually go into Canada and then come back down, and you catch yourself going through the Great Lakes, and then you end up pick up the Mississippi River. You go all the way down to the Gulf, and then you take the Gulf around the Horn of Florida, and then come back up the coast again, back to where you started." So he would probably put in over in Georgetown. He lives up in Andrews, South Carolina. He would probably put in Georgetown. Normally you start in the spring, and the way they describe it is you spring up the East Coast, you summer across the Great Lakes, and then you fall down the Mississippi River. So obviously these are all the seasons, right? You fall down the Mississippi River, and then you winter around Florida, and then come back up and finish. So it takes, pretty much you're going to be out there 8 months to a year, just depending on the type of boat you have, how fast you want to go, how much you want to linger and see. Some people are out there 2 years. So it would probably take him a good 12 months. So if he's going to do it, and I'll get back around to the whole Maryland thing here in a second, but so if he's going to do it, he's probably going to get the boat now, and he's going to come around to this probably, I would say, late February, probably late March, I guess. He would start, like I said, the spring, go up the coast, and because you don't want to get up there too soon, up to the Great Lakes area, and things are all frozen. There's still, snow, and it's still cold as shit up there. But anyway, he said, I need a truck. I can get the boat to the put-in at Georgetown. It's only, a few miles away, maybe 20 miles. I don't know. He said, I can pull the boat with my truck, or my car. He's got a Honda Element. He's only got about a 1,500-pound weight capacity for towing, and this rig that he was looking at up in Maryland was about 2,000 pounds. So he needed my truck, is the basis of the story here. Needed my truck to ferry the boat back 6.5 hours, 7 hours to Andrews. So we had planned it. We said, okay, we're going to leave this Thursday. We'll get up there, leave early in the morning from his house in Andrews. We'll get up to close to the guy's place in Maryland. We'll probably get a hotel, stay the night. The next morning, that Friday, we'd go over, secure the boat, pay him, and do whatever we need to do to get all hooked up, and then start driving back. Maybe stay one more night, for good measure, somewhere down in Tennessee or North Carolina before we came back. Well, the next day, we had planned all that, and we were planning on that. The next day, he emailed me and said, hey, I think I've ditched this boat. I started talking with the guy a little bit more, letting him know we were coming up, and started talking a little bit more about the engine. And what he found out was the engine was not in the best shape, and the guy couldn't give him the amount of hours that they had on the engine, and when was the last time it had been run, and maintenance. And he just didn't have a lot of good info on the boat itself, on the motor itself. So he decided, you know what, that doesn't sound very good to me. I don't need a boat with motor problems. You know, I can fix a lot of the cosmetic stuff in the boat itself, but the engine, I'd rather have a solid engine that I know is going to get me, you know, around this fucking Great Loop. So he gave up on that, and then later on that evening, he calls me. The phone rings, and I saw it was from my Uncle Will, and he says, "Hey, I know you were real disappointed about not being able to go up to Maryland for this trip, so I found this other boat, and if you're still interested, we can make a trip." Ooh, there's a nice fish. Did you see it jump up there? So I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I'm definitely down for a trip, man. I'm kind of jonesing to get out and do something." He says, "Okay, well, this one is in Idaho." I said, "Idaho? You got to be kidding me. Idaho." I know, bad joke. We're coming back up to this little spot we got to squeeze through over here. So yeah, he said it's in Idaho, about 2,300-mile trip. So obviously that's cutting it close. You know, if I've only got 6 days to play with when I take off and go somewhere, if it's 32 hours on that trip and we did 12 hours a day, you know. Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate through this thing real quick. So if we're going 12 hours a day, that's 3 days, and then 12 hours a day backwards. Now you're pulling a boat. That's another 3 days. And, you know, that's conservative. I mean, you could definitely drive a little bit more than 12 hours. You know, somebody could sleep while the other person drives and vice versa. We could stay on the road more than 12 hours, but neither one of us really care to drive at night. So you're really looking at, you know, leaving at daybreak at 7 o'clock and maybe finishing up around 8, trying to secure your place to stay for the evening. And, you know, maybe that gets you 13 hours. Anyway, it's pushing it, right? I mean, you're pushing 6 days conservatively. Maybe you do it in 4 to 5 days if you're really Johnny on the spot. He's 79 years old, doesn't want to drive at night at all. I really care not to drive at night. And then you're not even, you know, you got to plan for some incidentals, right? I mean, you don't know if you're going to have, you know, the trailer's got 4 different tires on it, so you could potentially have a flat on any of those 4 tires. You got 4 tires on the truck. You could have a flat. We only got 1 spare each for both. You got a radiator on the truck. You got hoses. You know, you got all kind of different engine problems that could happen. You could get in a wreck. You could get pulled over by the police a couple of times. Who knows? I mean, there's all kind of variables that go into it. So now you're definitely really stretching it with a 6-day limit. So I think I've pretty much decided I'm not going to do it. The only way that I would possibly do it is if I can get out of this, not tomorrow's appointment for Wednesday, but the Wednesday next. If I could get out of that appointment, and that way I've got, 13 days to play with, then I would possibly say, yeah, let's do it. Now, here's the kicker to it as well, and I don't know if he's a smart guy. Like I said, he's 79 years old, very intelligent. He's an engineer. So I'm not sure, you know, he was going out there to get it because it's a real good price on this boat. Normally they're anywhere from like $12,000, $15,000 up to about $50,000 or more. Real classic boat. I think it was a 1958, some sort, a Sea Dory, I think is what it was called. And really good price. He was going to get it for like $6,500. And when we got there, we probably, haggle even more than that and see if we could get a few extras thrown in or get the price even reduced a little bit more. Throw in that we're both veterans or whatever. I don't know. Do some bullshit to try and work around a little better deal. What the hell was I saying now? Oh, so then I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I get roughly 14 miles to the gallon without pulling anything. So we're looking at a 4,600 mile trip. It's about 2,300 one direction. So about 4,600 miles round trip. We're looking at a low average price of $4 per gallon. There's probably even more than that, through Colorado and maybe into Idaho and stuff. I'd have to check to actually look at averages everywhere and do a solid average. But I just put in, $4 a gallon for 4,600 miles with the vehicle getting 14 miles to the gallon. And that's just going there. But again, these were just rough numbers. So you're looking at $1,500 easily just in gas. So now you're adding $6,500 plus $1,500, and then that's not considering the places to stay. So if we're looking at 6 days, and let's say you get decent places. I'm not staying in any sketchy places. I just did that this past weekend in Charlotte. Pretty sketchy place that I actually carried my gun into the room with me. That's how sketchy it was. Not doing that again. So we're going to be looking at the very least $100 for a room. So now you're looking at another $600. So now you're looking at a $2,500 possibly extra on the trip, on top of the money he's saving. I don't know. It's his money. He said he'd pay for the gas and he'd pay for the hotel rooms and stuff. Of course, I'd help out with it and split it. I mean, I'm along for the ride, having a good time. Oh, I knew I was going to go aground a little bit there on that branch, but that trunk actually wasn't a branch. That was the actual trunk. So I don't know. We'll see. If I can get that day off, I'm probably going to say yes. If I can't get that day off of that appointment that I got, then I'm probably going to say no. I'm not going to chance missing this appointment because I have to be there. So that's what's going on this end, possibly in the near future. I am looking at possibly doing a trip up to New England over the summer, and that's not going to be in the camper. That's going to be just in, taking a flight up, staying in a hotel for a few days. I'm looking at Portland, Maine. I don't know. Any place up there, really, but Portland's the first one I kind of looked at, started doing some research on. It looked like it'd be a fun place to go in the summertime. Any of those places I think are going to be pretty nice in the summertime, versus hanging out down here in the sweltering heat. But I could do any of them, I could do Vermont, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, all those stuff. All those I still have to knock off my 50 states list, which I'm at 40 states right now, so I got 10 left. Majority of them are up there. Actually, a couple of them I would knock off. The only ones I have, almost the only ones I have left, west of the Mississippi, I would be able to knock off a couple of those if we go to Idaho. Idaho being one of the states that I need to knock off. North Dakota's one, Wyoming is another. So I'd actually knock off those three, and then Oregon is the only one I have left over there. Everything else is New England states. So if we could somehow if I had a 13-day, I guess, if we could somehow throw Oregon into it, just dip our toe into Oregon, then I could go ahead and say I've knocked off everything over there. Everything else is over here, which I could knock off in one trip, in the trailer. If I took off in the fall in the trailer and went up there, it just knocked off everything at campgrounds. But what else? I still have Vietnam. I don't even know if I have done a podcast about those, but I got Da Nang, Vietnam is what I'm seriously looking at. That's really tops of my list right now, but I'm going to have a hard time getting there this summer. So it's probably going to have to be next year, because once the summer's gone, the summer's really hot anyways. I was going to go back in April, May, and I never got around to it because I had some things pending that I wasn't too sure about, so I didn't do it. But the fall is not a monsoon season over there in the fall, so that's not really good. So I'll probably have to wait till the peak season, the prime season next year, which would be March, April, May time frame. But looking at Da Nang, Vietnam, I'm looking at Kyoto and Osaka, Japan. Same type of seasons over there for that, so I'm going to postpone that till next year. So both of those, I really want 9 to 10 days to explore both of those areas over there. So I don't want to go over there with just a 6-day window, and even pushing that 6-day to delays and cancellations and things like that. So I just really can't see myself doing that until next year, I guess. But so yeah, just gonna be short stuff around here. I'm probably gonna go up to Brooklyn, see my son and his girlfriend Leah, hang out with them for a little bit. So plenty of stuff to do, just not quite exactly what I had planned to do over the last couple of months or this summer, but we'll make it all work. Plans change. as a true Taoist, you just you go with the flow of the universe. The flow of this river. That's what we're doing. Don't go against the tide. Don't go against the river. Go with the flow. Be like nature. Nature just finds a way. So we're going to find a way. And that's all you can do. If you fight against it, that's when you have sorrow and pain and frustration and anxiety and all those types of things. If you just go with the flow of nature, there's nothing. There's nothing to upset you. There's nothing to be worried about. I was up at Lowe's Foods the other day. And I'm not drinking, by the way, right now, so I just go up there and hang out. And still, I still want to have social interactions with my friends and stuff up there. So I went up there the other day and was just hanging out, chilling. And this one guy used to work there. He used to come into Homegrown Brew House all the time as a customer. I've known him for quite a while. I can't remember his name because that's how much I despise the guy. But real negative guy. Every time I've run into him, no matter where it's been, Homegrown, Accidental Wine, Whitehall, Lowe's Foods. He used to work up there after I did. He was like third generation Lowe's beer den guy. Every time I talk to him, he's got negative shit to say about everything. He started talking about Maine. He's from Maine. So I started saying, oh yeah, I'm thinking about going up to Maine. I'm going to go to Portland. Oh, you don't want to go to Portland. Oh, Portland's so bad now. It's way worse. I can't believe when I go back, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you see what you want to see, so you're looking for the bad stuff, and you want to, every time I talk to you, you want to report on everything bad going on in your life, everything bad happening in this city or at your work or with your girlfriend or whatever. It's always negative Nelly going on. So you're seeing what you want to see. When I go places, I come back and report on all the beauty that I saw. So you're seeing different things. And I even brought up to him the meme that you see out there on the interwebs. You'll see that meme with these two guys sitting in prison, right? They're both sitting on opposite walls, and they've got an easel in front of them. They're sketching out and doing an artist sketch of what they see out the window. That's the only thing they got to sketch, really. Everything else is just a blank gray wall. So they're looking out this window. Window's got bars on it. You got scenery outside. The one guy on the left side is sketching. His sketch on his easel is the bars of the window. That's what he sees. Yeah, I think I go this way. Maybe I think I can go either way. I think there's a little island out here, if I remember right, when it's high tide. The other guy's sketching the nature on the outside of the bars. He's got a sunshine. He's got some rolling fields, a little mountain in the background, whatever. So life is all about what you see and how you perceive, not what you see. It's how you perceive what you're seeing. So I could sit here and go down this river and look over here and say, oh, look at that trash over there. There's a bottle over there. Oh, my God, this river's so trashy. Or I can look right down the middle here and say, man, look at the glass on this river. Look at the reflection coming off. Look at these flowers over here off of these trees. Look at that butterfly over there, trying to get some nectar off of the flowers, pollinating stuff and keeping life alive, keeping nature moving. Look at these elephant ears. Oh, my God, those are so beautiful. They're so perfect and serene looking, and I can just take in everything and see it one way or the other, and I prefer to see the good in everything. So long story short, the guy's a negative fucking prick, and I don't like him, and he was bringing down my energy the other night, and I'm like, God damn it, get this guy away from me. You bring me down, bro. You bring me down. Now, some of you are going to say, well, Brian, look at you. What are you doing? All you do is post all day about President Trump and all these negative things about Trump and what he's doing. Well, to me, that's a little bit different. I mean, he is purposely messing up the world that I live in. And that pisses me off because some of those things I can ignore and some of them I can't. Some of them I see in my pocketbook, or I see in the gas tank when I put gas in my car, or I see, in the people that are dying in his wars that he's starting. Not only the Americans, that's the only thing it seems like people around here care about is, look at all the dead Americans. What about all the dead Iranians, Pakistanis and Lebanon and all these other people? They're all fucking human beings. They're all people. We should be mad about all the deaths. And if you're cheering deaths of one or the other, then something's wrong with you. But That's another story. So anyway, yeah, I can point out some of the inconsistencies and some of the bullshit of this administration and still be a positive person and still realize that I live my life the way I want to live it. But some of those things affect the way I live, if that makes sense. Enough of that. We are coming up on the very first felled tree that we saw. This is a nice pine, pretty healthy pine that, just right at the edge of the river. It's kind of washed out from the river itself. The roots don't get to go as far as they need to go into the earth, and they're a little more susceptible to the wind and falling down, And again, that's just nature. That's just the flow. That's just the flow of life. Some trees fall down. Some stand up. And this one's in the water. What can you do? But you can see. Well, you can't see because we passed it, but things are still growing off of it. Things are still going to use it as a launch pad for its life. So some things sacrifice for other things. That's the way life goes. That is the way life goes. So I'm glad I got to speak with you guys, man. It's been so long, and it's nice to get things off your chest and to kind of talk things out a little bit. I am trying to, before I get the trailer back on the road, I got it all cleaned up. It's pretty much ready to go. These are a few, tidy up items or whatever, but I'm trying, I guess the biggest upgrade I need for my trailer right now, it's brand new. It's 2024 trailer. There's not anything I need in it, but the bed itself, huge bed space. I mean, it's queen size bed, queen size short, but the thinnest mattress ever. I mean, it's like a 2-inch foam mattress, I think. So I've got on my list to get I'm either going to get a 4-inch mattress and I'm going to place it on top of the 2, and then I've got a potential 6. But the 2 that's in there is a pretty shabby 2. I mean, it's a pretty mushy 2. So what I might do, I'm going to take a picture of this over here if I can. Well, I'm not going to take a picture of it, but I'm going to get... Anyway. I need to remember where that is. 47 minutes, 36 seconds in. Little landing. I'll tell you what I'm talking about here in a second, but... So, yeah, the 2-inch mattress in there is pretty shabby, pretty squishy for my weight. So I'm either going to get a 4-inch to put on top of that 2-inch, or I'll put the 4-inch down, put the 2 on top of the 4, on top of the new mattress. Or I'm going to get a 6-inch mattress, and I'll still use that 2-inch. I'm not going to throw it out. It's still got some cushion in it, so why not save it? But regardless, what I'm trying to say is I'm going to get me a new mattress in there because the mattress I have in there sucks. And if you're sleeping in it full time, which I've done multiple times, it's, your hips kind of take a beating after a while because they go through that mattress, and now all of a sudden your hip bone is hitting the hardness of the base underneath. So I've got to get a mattress that gives me cushion full time. So that's really all I need to get back on the road full time. Little trips here and there, not too worried about it at the moment, but that's on my list. What I was looking at back there is, if you haven't heard about it, look it up. Look up wind phone. Just go to Google's and type in wind phone, and you'll find everything you need to know about it. You can type it into YouTube. You can type it into Google. You'll find some articles about it. You'll find videos. But basically, 2010, I think, the tsunami came through. There was an earthquake and a tsunami that went through Japan, wiped out a bunch of people, and I think one of this guy's, on top of all the people in Japan that got killed, I think this guy's uncle got killed. So he made a memorial to his uncle, and he put a phone out there. It's not connected to anything, but it's called a wind phone. And he can go out there to this wind phone. He can pick it up. He can dial, a random number, or maybe his old uncle's number or whatever. And you just talk to the phone, and you talk to your uncle. The wind carries your transmission to wherever the uncle is. If he's just energy out there in the universe, it just goes out and joins that energy. If the uncle is reincarnated somewhere, maybe it goes to the reincarnation. But the wind carries that transmission, and you're supposed to be able to communicate with your loved ones. So Miss Deborah Pietrofesso, Deb, as we call her, Grateful Deb. She's got all kind of names. Some names that she doesn't want me to say what people call her, but we're looking at doing a wind phone somewhere here in the Somerville proper area. And she has looked. I haven't done anything. I'm just trying to help with some ideas and help secure a location for her at this point. But she's tried a few different areas at the Ashley River Park, the Givant State Park. Ashley River Park is a county park. Azalea Park, public park there in Somerville, Hutchinson Square, a couple of different things. She's got some irons in the fire for some hospice places, maybe looking at some church, memorial garden type things. Different ideas that we got going on, but she's been turned down at a few different places. So I'm trying to help her scout out some locations, maybe see if we can figure this thing out on our own. So that little location that I saw back there, I think is part of a park that's over here to my right. If you go down Bacon's Bridge and you go to the light right there, and on the right-hand side there's a little park. I'm not sure exactly what that park is called, but I think some of this walkway and trail back here is part of that park. So there's a bench back there, way out of the way. I mean, boaters, of course, kayakers, fishermen, they come down this thing, so they would see it off the trail there, or off the river. But looked like a nice little secluded place. You would have to. We're trying to find a place where it doesn't get vandalized and the phone gets stolen, or the enclosure that the phone is going to be in doesn't get tore up, vandalized, destroyed. So you really want either a place that you have to pay to get into, like one of these parks. We have to pay to play. So you're not really going to go to vandalize something if you got to pay to get in there. And they're also patrolled a little bit by the parks. But then you also kind of, from what the research I've been looking at, is you kind of want to get a place where people have to, take a little trek to get out there. And word of mouth, we're going to get out there. Hey, there's a wind phone, XYZ coordinates, and probably put it on the maps eventually. Once we see how it works, just kind of word of mouth. But you have to kind of know where it is, and you have to make a little bit of a effort to get there. So you're not going to make an effort to go out to vandalize something for the most part. And I think once people gravitate toward this thing and they realize the whole purpose of it, I think that the people that go out there to do the memorials are going to help to protect it as well. And I think just the memorial in general, although you do have grave robbers and you have people that fuck up headstones and things like that, I think for the most part, people are a little less likely to vandalize, stuff that's fucking memorial stuff. So she wants to put it out there in memorandum of her mother. And of course, we have a little plaque up there that explains what the phone is all about, who it's dedicated to. Normally, it's a place to sit, and you can, ponder and reflect and pick up the phone and just talk to your loved one. A little guidebook out there that people can sign and leave little notes and things like that. So that might be a spot. That was a kind of cool little spot. I'd have to get out and go to that park and maybe walk the trail. Obviously, you could come out on kayak and you could portage out and utilize it while you're on the river. Or if you're at the park and there's a trail that meanders out there, we could, people could hike out there. So wind phone, look that up, and that's kind of what we're looking at doing. We are now coming up to the end of our journey here, guys, gals, ladies, gents. This is the Bacon's Bridge, Ashley River Bridge, I guess. I don't know what the actual name of this particular bridge is, but bridge that goes over to Ashley River here at the Ashley River Park. This is where we're going to pull out. I'll show you the pull out. I'm sure people have seen it before in other videos I've done out here, but I'll give you another look-see at it. And it's been nice talking to you guys. We did a solid hour by the time we get over here. On my watch here, I got 58 minutes and 53 seconds. On my camera, I've got 54:27. So I didn't start it right away. About 5 minutes after we got on the room. It was a good one. Still kind of in the slack tide. The tide hasn't quite gone back yet. It's not high tide yet. High tide's in 6, 7, 8 minutes. So in 8 minutes, potentially this river should start reversing and going the other direction. But we pretty much rode it the entire time on slack tide. which is nice. Low effort. I can concentrate, I can talk to you guys and not have to worry about currents. We're under the bridge and dreaming right now. I'm going to show you the landing and then get out. Get this yak back on top of the truck. Get the heck out of here. Might feel some wind. Might hear some wind coming up into the camera at the moment. I'm trying to turn my head away from it. But again, I'm not even sure if I'm using the audio from my AirPods or the camera audio at the moment. Should probably figure that out before I start this one. Didn't see any wildlife. I saw a few herons and egrets, flying through the trees. Blue herons. Didn't see any turtles out. Didn't see one gator. I'm sure there was some. I'm sure there was a gator somewhere. Here's the landing. Pull up. I'm sure there was a gator out there underneath us somewhere, but we didn't see one. We'll step out, drain the boat in case I pour on any water, and we're gonna get the hell out of here. So I just want to say, good talking with you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hump day tomorrow for some of you. For some of us, every day is hump day, And we'll do a proper show with some craft something. As a matter of fact, I got some new syrup for some craft cola. So maybe we'll do some craft cola with my Soda Stream and my syrup on the next episode. All right. Talk to you. Love you. Be good to each other. Talk to you soon. Mwah.